And now it's time to load the passengers onto the car ferry. Look, and now I'm on the car ferry, which is also doubles as a passenger ferry by walking onto it. Okay guys, I've made it on my tour. I'm doing an archaeological reserve today, and I keep mispronouncing it, so just bear with me. I'm hoping maybe by the end of this vlog I can pronounce it correctly. And yeah, I have this and cave tubing today. Yeah.
Okay. There are some plants that start sharing nutrients. That is known as mutualistic, symbiotic, but here it's called mutualistic. This one is known as parasitic, because at the end of the day, what this tree accomplishes, it starts showing its roots down. See? That at the end, it starts looking like this. See the tree here? Mm-hmm. See how it's wrapping the root? Or like the one behind there. I mean, they're really cool, but it really it kills the tree. And they have found about 35,000 structures.
Which one is that one?
Caracol. And they have found about 1,600 aguadas and man-made wells on the side of the residential area. Wow. They think that the population of Caracol could have reached probably about 200,000.
Okay. So five extra square miles.
That gives you an idea of how to compare one big site with a small one.
With a small one, because this one had, you said 12,000 for this one?
12,000 roughly for this one, about 200,000 roughly for the other one.
And how many?
Only 12,000.
Tikal now has grown up to, I understand the last reading that we were given by Nikolai Group, that maybe it's about 45,000 structures. And they think that the population of Tikal at the end of its time probably was surpassing the 200,000. Well, you know, and that's a good point that you bring it, that we thought in the beginning, guys, that the Mayas had like a Mecca state where everyone do pilgrimage to go. I don't want to offend no one, but I know most people are sensitive with religion. Like a lot of practicing Catholics, their dream one day is to go to the Vatican. Yeah. That's where the Pope is.
Yeah.
Or to go to Mecca, the Muslims, you know? Things like that. We thought that the Maya in their culture was going somewhere, and people were pointing towards Tikal. Then when they found Chichen Itza, but then they realized that we were completely wrong, because Chichen Itza is a post-classic site. So it's after this area.
That's not at the same time.
So then when they started studying Tikal, they started saying, Tikal never wrote about it, but now it's in glyphs almost everywhere, how they were conquered. So by 562 AD, Tikal fell under the hands of Caracol.
Oh, okay.
But not Caracol alone. By other sites who form an alliance, intermarriage, and they cemented this dynasty, and then they made Caracol betray Tikal and to capture the king, bring them to Caracol. So that is what made Caracol to expand to the size that we know today. So what scholars are seeing, guys, is a big competition, a big struggle, pride, religion, everything working in the region in the time when the Maya were in their flourishing period. That led them to warfare that we thought that they were peaceful, but they were not. So then when that happens to Tikal, Tikal only has Temple 5. Tall temple, but Temple 5. By the time that Tikal comes out from these 130 years of dominion, most cities have 43, 45 meter high structure. Tikal King Ahau, of course, will not like that. So Tikal King Ahau, when he proclaimed himself the king of Tikal, and we know that it has the power to do what he did, he goes straight to Calakmul in Mexico, takes over the king, who is the mastermind of all these problems that they had, brings them to Tikal and sacrifices. And he declares, Temple 1 for me. from start to finish. 700 AD. Temple 2 for my wife. Those are the two impressive temples you see in the main plaza.
Oh, one for him and one for his wife.
And that's where he was buried. And that's where
Got
his
it.
wife was buried.
Got it. Okay.
That, in the beginning of when it's done, is changing the hallmark of the Maya. The Maya build a temple, they bury it, build another. They bury it, build another. The Maya has a residence, bury the residence, build another. Maya home. You put layers on top. That is skinny, but skyscraper. His son, Temple 3. On Temple 4, they use what was there and they put the highest. That's why that is the highest of the classic period. Because the highest of the Maya world is at El Mirador. Almost 70 meters high.
And which one's that one for? So the one first
That
one for him,
was-
second one for his
no,
wife, third
that
was for the
was
son?
built on top, and on top in a city that's pre-classic.
Yeah.
Before they started building big structures. So they started building a temple, then they put another one. And all the houses around were houses made of wood. As pre-classic, 1500 BC to the 1200 BC, they were starting to do these things.
And where's this one at?
That's in Guatemala too.
That's in
But
Guatemala?
it's called El Mirador.
Okay.
It's the basin of the Petén.
Okay.
When you start reading about them, you start laughing about their archaeologists also and what they were thinking of. Because Hans was doing excavations at El Mirador and he never dared to question archaeologists' finding that in the pre-classic no one should have a big structure. If you go to Lamanai have a structure that's called Temple High. Because the scholars put Temple High because that one was the highest of the pre-classics. Not of the Mayan temples, but of the pre-classic. But they were wrong. It's El Mirador that we have the highest, and not of any classic, of all the classics. But it is in a pre-classic. So Hans was never digging. They thought it was a hill in the middle of the valley. It's until the beginning of the 90s when they started digging now the structure to see. And they started saying, wait a minute, this is not a hill. This is a building.
This is a building.
This is a castle or a...
It's a temple.
It's
And,
a
temple.
temple. Oh, I know.
the bed.
Okay. Would that have been one house?
It's one house.
One house, one
But
family?
But it's not a permanent house.
So one family would live there?
One group of people will probably be, it's not a permanent house, so it's considered more like a guest house.
Oh,
A guest house?
And this was the kitchen here.
Oh, okay. It's just rubble now. Okay.
Because the kitchen only had the platform.
Yeah,
True.
it was just outside.
Yeah,
outdoor,
and
I
then
guess.
had a wooden structure.
Okay.
It was not stone wall and stone roof.
Yeah.
But to the queen that they buried.
Oh, okay.
Most of the time it was just a temple that will be oriented east-west. And they will use mainly the east structure to bury some of their loved ones. That's what we see as a pattern, and that's what they do here too.
So with these ones, I would guess since they're not built in the same manner that you can't do the clapping.
Yes,
You can do the clapping here
You
too?
can do the clapping there, you can do the clapping at Caracol, you can do the clapping anywhere.
Nice.
And you still hear a lot of that, but sometimes depends on your angle where you are. If you get closer there, you can clapping. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear it.
But if you get closer, you start hearing that kind of a quetzal bird call.
Okay.
Sounds like that. Thank you.
I have made it to the archaeological site and it's beautiful. But I'm learning a lot, so that's good. How do you pronounce this again?
Xunantunich.
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 Xunantunich. Okay.
Get there.
Xunantunich.
Tunich. You need to see the
Tunich.
word because it's too long.
I saw it like right now, but I'm still just having to ask because I'm just like
It's too long for you to remember.
Xunantunich.
But
Okay.
Xunan means woman.
Oh, okay.
Xunan.
Shunan.
Tunich,
Tunich.
stone.
So Stone Woman.
The Woman of Stone or
Woman
the
of
Stone
Stone.
Woman. That's the name of the site. When you are in southern Mexico, Petén, Guatemala, Belize, or the Maya region, the X is pronounced as SH.
See.
Sh, 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 sh. So some people go to Tikal and come back and say, I was at Yaxha. Yash. Not Yax. Yash, because the X is SH.
So the H is pronounced.
The X is
X.
pronounced as SH.
Shoe. Shoe.
Uh-huh.
Looks like Shoha.
Uh-huh. Here we have a platform there. That was once a temple, but only had a thatch roof building. Then we have another set of steps here, and once again it had a thatch roof building. It's when they built these steps here that if you come in, you get closer. See, this is original steps. Then you have a wall. If you go in that way and that way, you will see that there were doors to enter these rooms. So it was at this point that the Maya then built a room with stone wall and stone roof. Before that, these were just thatch roof buildings. Then they cover it, the steps, with this. All this. And then this was the steps of the other modification. See? And then they eventually cover this, and then they put the other steps that we don't have because that will end up here. So see, that's the Maya hallmark that I'm talking about, that they build a structure, they bury it, they build another, bury it, and build another, and bury it. That's how these are this big. These archaeologists made a hole and they didn't find any other building inside, so then this was built from start to finish to get to do that. We see when those things happen, it is like desperate moments or accomplishment that the Mayas wanted to be built now. We want it now. So what was this for then, we think? This was built in the 800 to the 850 AD, and it was to divide the plaza. Because before the plaza was from those steps way over there of that residential area to this building here. So this was a big plaza.
So they created two plazas.
So they divided
separated
the plaza,
Okay.
put this temple. We think this became the public plaza, and that became the private plaza.
Okay.
Now I have tried, and that's what I do, to put the Maya history in a little nutshell. But the books that you have to read is about this thick. And then maybe you will start understanding
The full concept.
the full context of the Maya. So for me to present you Xunantunich, I had to touch a lot of these other things, like one construction, another. And that brings me a lot into sometimes some other question that I try to answer the people. One is, but why will they build one top of the other? Why did they do that? So then I need to go and explain. And I tell them that we think the Maya, when they started developing this society, they started with a polytheistic belief, many gods, and an animistic belief. And these two together, they brought them to the end of their time. So in the animistic belief, when the Maya started building permanent structures, it was first temples. So we see they were religious centered. So they built a round platform. So we immediately go like, why round? Why didn't you do the square? Because we think as from there, they were thinking into the belief of cyclical events. They were with this belief already that things go and come back, go and come back. Things repeat itself. And that's how they ended up.
And that was kind of part of the religion. Like when they died, they would go through these different cycles.
And then come back.
As a plant, if they didn't complete them, or an animal.
Or an animal. Kind of a little bit of like a Hindu belief, Buddhism, but then you see that they have their own belief as well with that same purpose. So eventually we see that they bury that platform. And then they bury it. So we think, why do you bury it? We think if you don't want it, destroy it. But they didn't. So now. So what you do? You fill in all the rooms with dirt and stones and even seal the door so that it can stay inside. And so now you have a big structure of about 14 feet high and a roof. So you bury that, and then you go like about 3 yards from the base, and then you make a wall, and then you fill it in with dirt, you plaster it, and then you make another wall, and you level it until you get to the top of that building that you buried, and then you put your other building on top. But then you need to modify the front to make steps. So all the time is the building at the top that they were using.
Yeah.
The buried one, you will
Everything
never
else
know
is solid
if it's
now.
there. Everything is solid.
Yeah.
But when they started then burying their loved ones inside the building, then some of these rooms ended up being hollow because it's a tomb now. And that's where you will find skeletons.
Yeah.
Okay.
When they were just having the platforms, they were burying them inside the platform in the beginning, but it was not a lot because it was still not a practice.
Yeah.
So we see that the religion was not static, it evolved, it changed, even at the time when the Spaniards came. And now they have it in syncretism, we call it. Religion, Mayan traditions with Catholicism, and
Yeah.
so it continues.
Yeah.
So we see then the involvement of the religion in the Maya. So then that's why you see I emphasize that Tikal broke that rule when they say Temple 1. Wait a minute, there was nothing there. So then you need to ask, why were you doing it? We think of prestige, of honor, that we are back.
I'm gonna build the tallest
We are
building.
proving we are back, and be careful of us. Okay? But in the meantime, that was not the case. So then the Maya, that building there has 4 structures. The 5th is what you see, only part of the room at the top. The others you cannot see it, but they side because they make a big hole that you see that is white. They dig a hole there. That one, they say it only has 2. That one was done in the desperate moment, if we can call it like that, because that is from start to finish. That one. So then archaeologists say, well, why would they do that one at the last moment and fix it? Well, we think we found out. Okay, sir. Because we see that Xunantunich starts appearing as a Mayan settlement around the 400 BC. Then we see a discontinuity. We don't see really much of happening until around the 400 AD. From the 400 AD, we start seeing now some bigger monuments, bigger structures appearing, but not here. The first ones to appear here on the ridge is about 600 AD. So where are the other ones? Close to the river, we call Group E today, and in an area further that way, towards the north, which is known as Xunantunich. So we think that's where the epicenter is shifting until they bring it to the top. When they bring it to the top, what we have is a residential area, which is that one that you see over there.
Okay.
And then scholars digging into this one, they found that below this, there is a residential area. So then we had a residential area there and a residential area there. We find one of the most wealthy groups, Group D, which is farther down, that has a temple and has a monument, which we think that was probably maybe the priest or whoever was in charge. We don't really, it's obscure what was the type of leadership that they were enjoying at that time. But we think that it was not completely autonomous. And if it was, it still had some big connections with the city of Naranjo, which is about 20 miles from here in Guatemala.
Wow.
Okay? Maybe they were in charge of collecting the tributes of the Mopan River. And they stayed with a lot of this wealth, but a lot of it was sent to the king of Naranjo. We don't know that. But what we do know is that by 631 to 634, there is a major war. See why I try to push a war? Because it looks like that started happening in the Maya. So Caracol comes down and defeats Naranjo, captures the king, takes the king to Naranjo. We think that the rule of law faltered here, or maybe it was the time when this guy, maybe subordinate kingdom, or maybe just a line for family, decided it's time for me to be on my own. Or there was no other way to exist, to be on your own. So that's when then whoever was in charge here decides to take the residence that was there, bury it, and put a temple. And on this temple put a lot of the masks that I will show you in a moment that you see in the pictures.
Okay.
All that religious political propaganda, I call it, that put around this big temple. And then that residence over there, we then come to identify it as the palace. The one that's behind. That was just a residence. That becomes the palace. That's when we see now a palace. And from there, then archaeologists start seeing that it looks like it's already kingship. And then we would fall to what the Maya have, which is firstborn son to be the future king. There were exceptions. Believe me, we have found it. Archaeologists have found those exceptions. But that was more or less what we think, firstborn son. So this king then decides to eventually, this kingship, not that king because we don't know how long they live, but then the king decided in 800 to bury the temple. So by 850 AD, we see the burial of the temple.
Okay.
And then the palace appears. When the palace appears, then this is a big plaza. They divide the plaza and put this. See? So that's why we think it was to divide it. But before the palace was built and before this temple was put here, these three buildings that were not here, this was here, then they put this other one, and then immediately they put that other one, that was to observe the equinox and the solstice, which we think the Maya were not learning it. They already knew about it. But the city, probably being fully autonomous, needed it. Needed it for their rituals.
Yeah.
So then this building that you see here, which still not fully excavated, but I have seen parts of the wall. This has been done through the scientific approach.
Okay.
The astronomer will sit around here, and that's why we have the little stems here, because we can see too. But on March 21st, the sun comes out straight in the center of that. March. So April, May, June at the corner of that one there. July, August, September to the center. October, November, December at the corner of this. Eventually, when they built this,
Yeah, man.
Very nice glutes, right? We gotta work on this. Gotta get our workout in, right?
Yep.
Yeah, just doing the stairs. Yeah, they let you climb these ones at least, so gotta get a workout in. That's why I went ahead and wore some comfortable clothes and shoes.
all be gone.
It'd be really cool to see the original.
So they were losing the original, so you came late. The excavation was done in 1950 by the University of Pennsylvania, and Linton Satterthwaite left it exposed, and it was exposed until 2000. In 2001, 2002, they decided to cover the original after doing extensive work of restoration because it was falling apart, and then they put this nice replica on top. The other side has some remnants of this type of stuccos of mass, but that was exposed in 1992, and then a replica was done of that. So that is well preserved. They didn't have to do work on that one.
Okay. But they still covered it.
People were really reading and understanding from it. But let's see if you can follow my laser. Right, there it goes. Okay. This here is the eye, the nose, and the mouth with an X, the ear flare. This mass represents the central axis of the Maya world, or the axis mundi of the Maya world. We call it also Pash because it represents the god of music at the same time. So, central axis of the Maya world and the god of music. If we continue, you see the U shape? That's the symbol of the moon goddess, representing Ixchel, representing the god of fertility, the father of childbirth, the goddess of childbirth, the goddess of midwife. If you see the eye, the broken nose, and the tongue, this is the rain god, Chak. So this is the rain god. The moon goddess again, central axis of the Maya world again. If we go all the way back, here we go up. This is a Bakab. This is sustaining the corner of heaven, or one of the branches of the tree of life. We call him Bakab. And then the little hole, this like W's, this is the symbol of Venus, Nohoch Ek, or the god of war, for the Maya. And then this is a throne where you have the upper jaw. We don't have the lower jaw. We think this is very symbolic. This is like a throne that we see in some of the images of when they were crowning the first kings, when it was decided by the gods of the underworld that their position should be level to true divines, or kings we call them, ahau. Here we have Nahoch Cheen, again like Nahoch, meaning the name for Venus, the planet Venus, god of war for the Maya. And the Bakab here. Okay. So that's what we know. Now, if you wanted to bring it a little more in detail, this mask, central axis of the Maya world, someone has described it. It is that big tree of life that has 4 branches, and that's heaven. The buttress is our stony world where we live, and the roots go to the underworld, Shivalba or Shivalba. So that's the tree of life, the cosmos. And that tree of life, you can see it that sometimes it's sustained by a crocodile. That means the crocodile is going in the primordial sea, swimming with the tree of life.
Kind of like Yggdrasil. North.
Yeah, big reptilian. Then also we see that that tree has a circle around. That circle we now know is the path of the sun. So at 6 o'clock in the evening, the sun transforms into a jaguar and goes 1, 2, 3, 4 levels, defeating darkness, and then lands on the 5th level, defeats the god of death, Apuch. And then the mirror of the 4 here appears on the other side. So then, symmetric, very symmetric in a way. The sun god comes back the 4 levels and becomes the god of light, the champion of light. And then goes 6 levels of purification, and on the 7th level is sitting up on the giant tree of life, cross-legged, and even drinking chocolate, drink of the gods. The level of 6 here is on the other side, so it's summoned to go down again to the world of darkness. So what we see then is a constant battle between light and darkness. The sun against the god of darkness, the sun against the god of death, Apuch. So something interesting we learn of the Maya, like we have learned of other religions, the gods live in darkness. Yeah. Remember that story of Let There Be Light? So where was this guy? In darkness. Let there be light. And there was light. So the Maya say that there was light, but it was because the sun defeated darkness and became the god of light. We humans cannot live in darkness. So we need the sun, and that's why we should venerate the sun. We should venerate the god of rain, Chak, because we need water. So instead of them venerating the creator, they venerated what has been created, if you want to see it in that manner. But they had the creator, which they call Itzamna. So that was one god. But they had a symbol for that god. So it's not a god with no face, then with no symbol. It was Itzamna, like a snake. Where you can come and have a look at this reptile.
Oh yeah. What's around that way? Can you walk all the way around?
We will go that way.
Oh, okay.
So that's the only way to go. Problem there with the crossing of back and forth. Only time when we stop crossing is because we are not in paradise, and I don't think that can frighten anyone, mainly especially when you're at border points. The only time I know that someone will not go. You see this tree here? This is the tree that the Maya used to bleed and they get the resin and they made a ball from it. But they did not only use the resin of this tree, they mix it with another resin of another tree, and that's how then we ended up with the ball. So that is known as the vulcanization of rubber. So that's another thing that has been attributed to the Maya, that is no longer known as to be Charles Goodyear. The Maya made rubber. And one thing that they believe that the Maya were using their elbow, their shoulder, their hip, and their knee to hit the ball.
Okay, so it went to go through like a stone.
When in the beginning, it had no ring.
No ring. Okay.
Eventually, they put the ring.
Gotcha.
And that's when it probably became a game for the masses, a game for entertainment. And if not, well, it was put after it was introduced to them.
Okay.
When it was introduced to them by the sun god, we think it was a reenactment of the passage of the sun that they were being asked to do.
Okay.
And that was east-west.
Gotcha.
The sun goes towards the east, comes from the east, goes to the west, goes down and back and up. So that was the idea of the game. So you will take the ball from here to that end, and that guy from that end to here. And if you drop the ball on the ground, it had dropped in Xibalba, so then you lose points, or that is, we don't know what happened, but that was not supposed to happen. Yeah. Hieroglyphic writing, which I don't go in detail, but it's a writing system. The Maya will use 800 symbols they can use to make a sentence. We can use how many?
What do we got? 26?
26.
26? Yeah.
Yeah, depending on what alphabet you're using.
26. Okay. In the English language. In the Spanish, there's a little bit more because they have the che and the ene. But we're speaking English, so that's why I refer to that. Well, the Maya, they had 800 that you could use. So we're not going to get in detail, but they could write. And today, 85% of it, the scholars have been able to identify, and so they can read.
That's what the Soviet guy argued.
This is badly eroded. They think it was time. They don't think that someone came and did that, but the archaeologists have been able to guess what was here. But these are calendar dates. So in calendar dates, the most easy thing is the dots represent 1 and a bar represents 5. So if we're talking about our, I think, Arabic numerals, I think that's how it's called, but our numbers we count, not the Roman ones, we can count from 0 to 9. Okay? So you have those symbols, 0, we have a 1, we have a 2, we have a 3 and a 4 until you get to a 9, and then you reuse them to make more numbers. Well, the Maya only had a dot and had a line and a little shell, and they could do the same thing like us. We count by tens, they count by 20s. So when we go to tens times 10, we go to 100. The Maya will go from 20 to 20 to a 400. So that will be a difference on how they will be. So they count by vigesimals or vigesimals. We count by place values of 10. So if you put a 1, then you add a 0, then it becomes 10. And then if you add another 0 on the right, it will become 100. Another 0 on the right, and then it will become a 1000. Because the biggest number is the one on the left. If you do the same with the Maya, you'll put the 0 at the bottom, and the 1 will be at the top. So the more zeros you put at the bottom, the higher the number 1 will be in the value. So it will be from top to bottom. From top to bottom. Okay. Descendants of the people from Xunantunich. Because remember that by 1000 Xunantunich was abandoned. We think that people left. But moving around, probably tribal groups, and eventually they landed here. And then they started a legend about this place. They say that every time that they were coming up here, a woman used to appear to them here. And that woman would lure them to follow her, and she will go up to the highest hill. This was all covered with dirt. What you see was not visible. It was just hills with trees, like how you were seeing that from behind. So through a hole she will enter and vanish. When they will peep into the hole, the only thing that they saw was stone. So they started calling it the Woman of Stone. Thomas Gunn comes to attend the sick in the 1800s. So by 1881, we see the first name of the site being registered.
Okay.
By Thomas Gunn and Maloney, who was the governor of Belize at that time. So they're the ones that share the legend of the villagers, and that made them to come and see, and they identified it as a lost city of the Mayan culture. 1881. 1905, Thomas Gunn came to do some studies, but he was a physician, not an amateur archaeologist. Treasure hunter, maybe. But he is the one that put the Xunantunich to the map until the 1950s when Pennsylvania came. And then today, northern Arizona and San Antonio, Texas, are the ones that are doing most of the study of the site. What's the name of it?
Can you repeat that?
The Sacred Mountain of Clay.
Sacred Mountain of Clay?
Uh-huh.
And how did they say it?
Kaatwitz.
Kaat.
Kaat. Witz is mountain.
Witz.
Witz is mountain.
Kaatwitz. Okay.
Kaat will be the sacred clay.
Okay.
Okay.
Kaatwitz. That's what the scholars claim that the leaves are interpreted to me.
So why don't we?
Okay, and then this is one of the residencies. So we're allowed to go up on here. But behind me is that secondary plaza, the one that he said splits the courtyard in two. But then this is a residency.
Tiny little rooms.
That's why we know that this city was abandoned. And the people started to rebel and they were scared and they
Nice little plaza on this side too.
because they were mad. All right.
There you were.